ladies and gentlemen, is the real world that our children live in, not the ideal one that we want them to live in, not this wonderful world that we pray that will come here one day, but the real world that they have to live in. You want to know why they're acting so crazy? You want to know why they're doing the things that they're doing? Because we have not prepared them to live in this real world. We have sent them through 12 years of school teaching them this dumb stuff that doesn't work, and when they go out and try to apply it and get killed for it, we are not there to help them through.
Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't African, the talk show that postulates the fact that the so-called African American didn't come to America by way of ship. I'm your host, Buck Wylam. And when I started this African Americans Ain't African, I knew I would get a lot of flack. One of the main camps of flack that I'm getting from is so-called Africans. And what Africans are saying that I am trying to separate the two groups, where I don't see where we're together nowhere in this country as a group of people, but this is their complaint. They say that I hate Africa. I'm like, how do I show that I hate Africa by saying African Americans aren't from Africa? How is that showing hate? So I've been getting a few calls from Africans and emails from Africans. I just wanted to show them that the song that you just heard, that was from Fela Kuti. And Fela Kuti say everything is upside down. The African man don't do nothing for himself because he's running over here while his country is being raped and his nations are being raped. So we have to look at things in perspective. Immigration is huge in America, so that's going to be the topic tonight. But before we get into immigration, I want to just get into how it affects us real quick before we go any further, because this is important. I was talking to a social worker tonight. She works for a community economic service organization. It's a federally funded organization run entirely by African Americans. If I told you what she said was going on in this community center ran by these people, you would call me a liar to my face. You would think about it, then apologize because you know what's happening. To say our communities are falling apart is something that was talked about at the Million Man March, 30 years ago, 25 years ago? But to be in a position to receive federal funds and do nothing for the community, that's what the problem is. These type of things are going on in our communities everywhere in America, and our communities are falling apart. But one of the main things that we don't even talk about because we're never in on the conversation is immigration. What is immigration? And how does it affect the indigenous people of any land? So let's say if 10 million African Americans was going to bum rush the island of Cuba, how would that affect Cuba? Or 10 million African Americans was going to go and live in China, how would that affect the Chinese? These are things that is not really, when African Americans have conversation, these are not really things that we talk about, but that's what we do here at African Americans Ain't African. Joining me always are my indigenous crew of Rick Moon. What's going on, Rick Moon?
Hey, Buck, how's it going? How's everybody out there doing tonight? Buck, I got a word for you tonight.
What's the word, Rick?
All right. Okay, everybody out there in computer land, the word that we're learning tonight is, well, actually it's two words, is immigration reform. I looked this up on the Wikipedia, and what it says, it is a term used in political discussion regarding changes to current immigration policy of a country. Its strict definition, reform means to change into an improved form or condition by amending or removing faults or abuses. In the political sense, immigration reform may include promoted, expanded, or open immigration, as well as reduced or eliminated immigration. Now, I looked at that definition, And I saw a lot in that, that's saying, some things that I don't think most people would know that it's saying in that definition.
Well, cool.
So, no way. Huh?
I was saying, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Right. And so, as always, Moon had to get his own definition.
Let's hear it.
So, and I thought you'd never ask. Okay. The real definition of immigration reform is the government's ability to amend and remove all foreigners through the use of immigration laws made with ability not to reform, which is REFORM. So what you do is you change the first two letters around and then you put it at the end. So it is to make unproductive foreigners former immigrants. This power gives these devils the right to peak, in which peak means to promote, expose, expand, and perform by any means necessary to reduce or eliminate undesirables. Now, what that definition is saying is, all of you people out there who call yourselves African Americans, you are calling yourselves foreigners, and you are subject to this exact definition of immigration reform as anybody else who's not from here. So you need to make up your mind, you're African or not.
Rick, we're gonna get back into that conversation. I want to talk about that when we come back around to you. Keep that in mind, okay? Because that's something we got to hit. Because I've heard some other people talking about this, and it's deep. Niecy Lachelle, the Memphis Mama, how you doing up there tonight, love?
Evening, beloved. How you doing there, everybody out there? This is some powerful stuff. This is some powerful stuff. I was watching it from a political trickery standpoint, and they were supposedly trying to hold up funding to DHS. Of course, we know they weren't going to do that. So now all of a sudden, in the 11th hour before they had funding shut down, they miraculously, these two parties, the so-called parties, air quotes, because it's really just one party, but these two quote-unquote parties came together enough to close some ranks of the gulf and the divide to vote on a quote-unquote clean deal to fund DHS, and then they'll be back, with the ploy of immigration, because that's all it is. It's a facade. And the only thing I'm going to say to the family as we, get into this, keep your eyes open about what this is about. Whatever they put in the media that it's about, that's the very thing that these bills are not about.
Ooh. Lone Wolf on the West Coast. I know you haven't seen a lot of immigration out there in Los Angeles. How's it going out there, brother?
I'm all right, brother. Yeah, definitely seeing a lot. How you doing, Sister Niecy, Brother Rick, everybody else out there? Yeah, man. Hey, I was going to say, it's definitely a lot of, as they will say, legal immigrants. But the wild part about it is, like I say, I'm not from here, but I was told that this California used to be Mexico, right?
Well, that's what they used to say, but this is what I'm saying. This is one of the things how we're always caught up, because the Spanish, it wasn't Mexico. Mexico, that's still white people invading. And so what we do, we get caught up in their invasion and say it wasn't. Those people down in Mexico are some of your brothers and sisters. They just got conquered in Spanish while you got conquered in English. That's the only difference. We keep acting like Mexico and all this is one separate countries. It's not. It's one land. We keep falling into these ideologies that these people put out, and it just keeps us in confusion. It wasn't Mexico. Those are Spanish, English words and terms. And we get caught up into it, and that's one of the reasons why we're always confused. No, it wasn't Mexico. What did the indigenous people call it?
I don't know.
So you understand. So that's how what the immigration is doing to us. It's wiping us out. And this is the cold part about it. We don't have no say so on the matter.
None.
None. So we're going to get into immigration tonight. You know, we'd like to hear your thoughts and ideas on it. We'd like to hear you to call in. Give us a call at area code 605-562-3140. We'll definitely want to hear your views on it. Check us out at African Americans Ain't African on Facebook. Bring a lot of information. And what we're doing now, we're putting a lot of images up where you can find people you know. That's all we're getting. That looks like my wife. That looks like my wife's mother. That looks like my dad. Because when you pull these images up, you'll see yourselves here in Indigenous America. So check us out. Give us a call. Immigration. On November 20th, 2014, President of the United States, Barack Obama, claimed that it was time for undocumented people who were educated and entrepreneurs to come out of the shadows and get right with the law. Rick, you're going to love this. But many immigrants disagree with Obama, including District Court Judge Arthur Schwab, who said that Obama's ruling allows undocumented immigration who fall within these broad categories to obtain substantive rights. I'm going to read that again because this is where it affects us. Allows undocumented immigrations who fall within these broad categories to obtain substantive rights. Half of the states agree with Schwab. You know all the ones in the Southeast do. Immigration, what is it? Immigration is the movement of a people into a country which they are not native in order to settle there, especially as permanent residents or future citizens. Immigrants are motivated to leave their native countries for a variety of reasons, including a desire for economic prosperity, political issues, family reunification, escaping conflict or natural disaster, or simply to change one's surroundings. In 2013, the United Nations estimated that there were 231,500,000 immigrants in the world, approximately 3% of the global population. Immigration is a highly debated and controversial topic in today's global community. Now, this is 2013. Check out how many immigrants came into America. And then we're going to get, because I want to relate this to us. Because like I said, African Americans, we don't open our mouths about much, but you don't never hear us talking about immigration and how it affects us. In 2013, 11.5 million from Mexico, 2 million from the Philippines, Vietnam 1.2 million, China 2 million, Cuba 1.2 million, Dominican Republic 1 million, El Salvador 1.2 million, Guatemala 1 million, India 2 million, Korea 1.1 million, other 16.5 million. So I'm figuring that's, Europe, Africa, and all that. Now these are the legal immigrants. 43 million people came over here in 2013. Legal. What do you think it is illegally? How many illegal aliens do you think it is over here coming in from Europe? Because when you talk to the people in New York, they'll tell you in a minute. Most of the immigrants over here illegal are coming from Europe. Rick?
I don't know, man. It's probably a pretty good number, though.
So,
but one thing when you was mentioning those countries, there was a couple countries in there that you mentioned that were in North America, so you might want to subtract them.
Say that again.
It was a couple of countries you said in there that was in North America. When you was talking about how many immigrants, I think you just talking about.
Right. No, I understand that. Mexico, yeah. Yes, I understand that. But what I'm saying, this is my point to this. So when we're talking about how does this affect us, so you have 43 million people coming over there. who and where are they going to make their money?
They're gonna make it off of us because we the consumers over here. We the ones that are we're the majority as far as I'm concerned.
So if we take all our funds, because I think it's 2 trillion people, $2 trillion that the so-called African American has, and you have 43 million. These are the people who are educated. Because we think people who are coming. Could you cut the noise in the back, please? God damn. You have 43 million people. These are the educated ones. These are the one that goes to school and come over here and set up in our communities and all this. Now you see where that true $2 trillion that we give away every year goes, or one of the places it goes. So we have all these immigrants rushing over here. What does that say for us, Nisi? What is the bottom line? How do we handle that as a group?
Well, we need to handle it the same way the people who come here handle it. For instance, when illegal, usually maybe a couple that are illegal, but you can switch them around. It can be illegal Hispanics, Latinos, or Asians. I've seen both of them do this. They will buy a house, probably pay cash for it, and a lot of times they will. That will be the conduit house where everyone else comes through because it's already understood. You got things set up for you. You just come here. Well, don't worry about anything. We're all in this together. So they'll all rally around. You may have 3 or 4 different families, the equivalent of 12, 15 people or so living in a house, but they're families. And one by one, as they are financially solvent and okay, they move out of that house, and then they go on to get their own thing. So what we can learn from them is collectivism, of which we don't have. You can lose your job and can't go stay with your brother or sister past a month because in their eyes, they don't see you doing anything. I can't help you. You need to get out of here. So we can learn that from them. But the main thing that I get from the whole thing that's going on is that we are liquid money, and they know it. They come here knowing it, and we're objectified by everybody else.
Man, I saw a lady in Los Angeles one day selling hot dogs wrapped in bacon. And so I asked people, the immigrants, they'll talk to you. I asked her, I said, how much you make a day selling bacon wrapped, hot dogs wrapped in bacon? You know what this chick said? I was like, you're kidding me. She cleared about $800 a day.
5 of them dollars came from you.
So when you say so she's pulling in $800 selling hot dogs in downtown LA. Plus what you said, Nisi, that collectivism. Now, most of the brothers and sisters who live in LA, they're single. So rent in LA is what rent going for in LA, Lone Wolf?
I mean, you want a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
I mean, we want to get 3 or 4 families in. So let's say
3 or 4 families?
3 or 4.
A Mexican family, so a 2-bedroom?
Yes, or 3-bedroom.
That was a joke. Okay, so a 3-bedroom in the hood or towards the beach?
In the hood.
All right, in the hood. 3-bedroom, that's going to run you about 18. Okay. $1,800 a month.
So if you got 3 people, you got 3 families in there, you got 6, 7, 8 working adults in there, what would the rent come to if they're using collectivism?
Oh, you talking about just splitting it, how many ways? 4 ways?
You can split it 4 ways. You can split it 5 ways, 6 ways.
Yeah.
It might be 8 ways.
500 each, 400 each, something like that?
Right. So isn't that one of the ways we getting wiped out? We live by ourselves because we're not a unit.
Man, I live alone. I pay $1,050, 1 bedroom.
So
I know, huh?
so some guys coming up from Mexico. So some guys coming up from Mexico. What, 3 or 4? Because they don't use their living rooms as like we do. We want to put a flat screen, sectional. They'll probably put 2 bunk beds in there and just live in there and just and grind.
Hey, we gotta have that. We got the white carpet and nobody could sit in there or stand in there. Just got a room for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They don't do that, Buck. Before I started buying my house, I've been in my house for going on 12 years, and the last apartment that I lived in, each unit was like a quadplex because you had 2 up and 2 down. The one immediately below me, I asked the resident manager, I said, what is this, the Hispanic apartment? Because every time someone would leave, it wouldn't be very long. You know, the apartment would be vacant for a minute, then all of a sudden, 15 people in the apartment, you know. And she said, why do you say that? I said, because that's all this goes in that apartment. Is it a designated Hispanic apartment? And she played dumb. But what I saw at first, because I lived there for a few years, I saw families coming in there. Then after that, all I saw was construction men. And we're talking about an average of 10 men there. I got a chance to see the door open one time, you know, because they were downstairs underneath me. These people had pallets on the floor. This isn't what I think I saw with my own eyes. And I'm in the South, and we're talking about 10, 11 years or so ago, you know, 12 years ago, correction, when I bought my house. That was the last time I said, I got to get out of here. They would be in there cooking, burning up stuff, and, you know, that was the type of, and all of them had, the odd thing is that all of these people had brand new trucks and stuff. So they pay cash for stuff. So that way they can stay under the radar. They don't want no credit.
So, Nisi, in the city you live in, the influx of immigrants that are coming into Memphis, on the opposite side, the African American community, who's, I mean, we're having a commemoration down here in Alabama on the 50 years of Selma. We're gonna have a show about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about that. We're into this victim. We got beat up 50 years ago, and now we got to tell the world. While other people are coming in here doing what you're doing, grinding, they're coming from a different paradigm than we are here. I want to know what you see what's going on in the African American community today with the influx of all these immigrants. What is that doing to us? Because it reminds me kind of like Egypt. When everybody started rushing into ancient Egypt, when the Greeks and the Romans and everybody started running to ancient Egypt, in no time at all, Egypt was a growing desert. Does that look like what is happening to us here? Because I've been told by several people, you can forget it. The African American group is gone.
Pretty much. I mean, the handwriting has been on the wall for a long time. I mean, we were compromised the minute the invisible ink was signed on the civil rights movement. I mean, I don't really want to get into that. People did the best they could. It was this, it was that, yada, yada, yada. That was the beginning of the undoing. Now you got these things. It was just like on the Wishmaster, whatever you think you're asking for, that's exactly what you're not going to get, except you're the last one to know that, you know, you're still being duped. So, I mean, that's it. And this voting stuff, I want to slap people about that. What is it that you're voting for? You're voting for cognizant dissonance. Everybody's getting something. What have so-called black people, so-called African-American people gotten? And these are the very people who would close ranks and files around, you know, the current POTUS, who isn't black. What have you gotten for all of your, you know, loyalty? What have you got?
Nothing. I mean, we've gotten jobs. I mean, I think one of the things that whole civil rights thing was, it was the death knell for us because we allowed ourselves to be integrated into another society who we had just watched the previous 200 years dog us out. So when you say, I think we have to talk about that. And just because people get awards and that's all we talk about is that civil rights thing, that was some bullshit. And we keep acting like it did something for us. And this is another thing that I think it did to us. When we talk about these immigrants, so when you see, I'm looking at it like these people knew we were going to be waking up soon to this. And so what do now? You flood the country with immigrants, the females, the males, who are kind of female-ish anyway. They're going to go and produce with foreign females. Those foreign females will label their babies as Indians or Native Americans, wiping you out because we don't have babies no more. Brothers and sisters have got this hate thing going on that's really ridiculous. So the immigration does a whole bunch of foreign men too. All it is replacing us with foreigners as we thin out because we are thinning out. Rick?
Well, you know, and another way that it's affected, the effect to nature itself. When you get a bunch of people coming over here that are from totally different other cultures and stuff, they begin to change your landscape. I mean, you look at the forest. I mean, they've practically, Europeans and other folks have practically torn down all the forests here in the United States to build their empires. You know, before they started to come here, when did we ever have duck season or deer season or bear season? You know, so it's not only an attack on the indigenous people. It's an attack on indigenous things, period. And then they cover up the earth, which is where we came from. So they cover that up, so it's starting to breathe. They got us in all these crazy ideologies and stuff like that. Got us divided and conquered, basically. And these are some of the things that happened to Egypt. No conscious resolve. We have no connection to nature. All the living stuff that has been torn down has been replaced with dead stuff.
So what you're saying, Rick, basically is this, Rick. So you're saying you let all these immigrants come down, you start clearing off the land and start building these prefabricated homes on top of them. That kills out the nature in large swaths.
Yes, exactly.
African Americans Ain't African Radio, we're talking and listening to immigration. What is immigration doing to the African American? How are we affected by it? Because we have no say-so in it, and most of the time we don't even think about it. Give us a call if you have your thoughts on it. Or go to African Americans Ain't African on Facebook. Check us out. Call us at 605-562-3140 to get into the conversation. The participant code is 240670. Immigration. On the other way out, the reverse side. Are as many people leaving America or as they coming in, or how does that work on the other side? Are people leaving America? Because with all of the scared news that we got, the dollar's collapsing, preppers, trying to make it a scary place to be in America. And a lot of people are leaving, but are they leaving to the tune of 43 million people a year? Lone Wolf?
Well, I mean, you got people about to leave to Mars. I know you heard about that, right? So
yes.
Let alone going to other countries.
Yes.
They're about to leave. This whole place is going to be full of us, the indigenous, and all the others, I'll say non-white. They just going to move away. I really think that. Leave us down here. But out here in California, man, they have a new law. Of extending driver's licenses to illegal aliens. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes. Could you
now the residents? Yeah, I was gonna say now the residents are all illegal immigrants can go to our DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, and apply for a license. Now, and they could get a driver's license legally. So it's like they're being rewarded for being illegal aliens. Now the residents are complaining of long, ridiculous vehicle registration lines at the DMV. Like, can you imagine 100,000 new applicants? This place was already overcrowded overcrowded as it is, now it's going to take weeks and sometimes months to secure a DMV appointment. On top of that, the majority of the applicants coming to the DMV have to retest because of their inability to pass the written exam, man. So, they just clogging this all up. You got some kid who's from here, 16, 17 years old, about to get his license for the first time, got to go through all of this crap over something that really don't even have nothing to do with them.
From North Carolina, we have this. I think immigration is beneficial to America when the people have something to offer financially, educationally, and do not have a criminal background. Is it as easy as that, Nisi?
The problem that I have with that, and I spoke on it, I think that was last week or so, you got, and I'm just going to go with where I live. And, of course, I live in the quote-unquote Bible Belt, red South. I'm in Tennessee. You have brothers who have lost their license. They probably barely remember ever having a driver's license. South Port. Okay? I am sorry. That is, they calling me now. I'm sorry. You have that, and you have people who have lost their license. They can't get a driver's license because there are thousands and thousands of dollars in back child support, and the child support is what is attached to the driver's license. Now, they are not going to make any type of concessions for these people. Majority men, probably 98% men, they're not going to make any concessions for them. But what they're going to do is continue to arrest you because they can stop you at will simply for driving while black. So when they stop you, you're on your way to work or wherever you're going, you get stopped, the car gets impounded, they get to add more money to the fees that are already out there and keep your car if you can't get it back, because the longer it sits on the impound, it's gone to the auction, of which they have weekly here. And you, again, are the cycle of liquid gold, not only the system, but, for the community, because they don't want to raise taxes because they figure out that they can get money from you, okay, just by an act.
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. So that's their problem. And you don't. And the only thing I'm going to say, but you have nobody. This is where I'm through the voting stuff. I'm about as political as anybody, politically aware and all of that. You vote for these politicians, the very ones you vote for that are supposed to be so-called Democrats, and black Democrats are the worst. They give you nothing for your vote, because these are the very people who sit up and enact these laws that make you the liquid gold.
From New York, Valley says, we need to close the door and clean up our house. People can visit but can't stay for no less than 3 years. Tourist only. What do you think about that, Rick? Can you just tell people they can't come over? I mean, this is where we lose it at. See, we have brothers, we're broken down into so many different camps that we can't even get together on one accord, and these type of issues mainly affect us. This stuff affects us directly because, like you just said, Nisi, so Lone Wolf just said in California they're going to give 100,000 licenses to illegal aliens. Don't know what they did back in their country. The brothers here who are behind on child support or can't pay it or whatever, they get there where they can't work or anything. That brings a huge bearing on the community, because now you have all these brothers that can do something, but now they're wiped out. That's how we begin to dry up. African Americans Ain't African Radio. Rick, how do you see it?
Yeah, and another thing that I noticed is that all these so-called immigrants and stuff that come over here, they seem to get opportunities, like to open businesses and do stuff like that in our communities, and none of us, we can't do that. I mean, we can't even get now the only thing we can get is churches. We can open up all the churches and synagogues and all that we want to, but we can't get nothing else. I forgot, hair places. We can open up barbershops and salons. But basically, everybody else come over here and they use us, and we end up at the wrong end of the stick every time. And
Rick, this is what I don't get about this. So these people come over here, they don't support us, but we constantly support them. What is that? We won't even support family members, but we'll support other people that won't support us, and we do it. I mean, brother, when I see a brother with a cup in his hand and a bag walking down the street, you would think he's God or something.
Hey, it's about as bad as seeing all these females walking down here with this extra hair, and ain't none of it come from their people.
So.
Yeah, that hair is from other countries. They're making them people rich. So I was thinking you might well move those people over here and just cut it fresh off their head. They want to stay here. They just trade it for the hair, trade it for the rent to the ladies that like to wear the weave.
Well, check this out. These free trade zones that China's about to open up. See, China do free trade zones. We got to have a show on that. China's about to move over here, so they're gonna cut out their shipping cost. United States is so in debt to China, it's not funny. I know everybody knows that. China's about to set up over 270 free trade zones in the United States, 11 in California. What they're going to do, if you ever want to see what they're going to do, there's a video out called Life and Debt. It's a documentary about Jamaica, what's happening in Jamaica, and all these foreign companies move in. They don't hire the Jamaicans. They build a fence around some land and ship their own workers in and pay them the 50 cents an hour that they were making at home, and just build dorms for them, and they live there. This is what's going on here. So when we say jobs and stuff, we should have been so off that back in the 60s. We're going to have to create some kind of life for ourselves. If not, we're done.
That's the only way to get out of it. Make a trade for ourselves or basically that, and employ each other.
Well, we do a nice job. This is the thing that we don't see. We're employing these people. We employ Koreans. We employ Vietnamese. I mean, this is that song that first started when everything is upside down, and we're proud of it. African Americans are proud. Their communities are you don't. These people are proud. We proud of what we're doing, man. So this is what I'm saying. Is this the death knell for us? Because history, if you just look at history, history repeats itself. And the calls I'm getting from all these people liking this stuff that's coming on now, Empire, where we're just the smut of the earth, is this immigration thing, what is this going to do to the African American? We have a couple of callers on the line. Area code 334. You have something to add?
Oh, just hey, good afternoon, everyone. Just listening in there. Buck Waller, that's all. Y'all go ahead.
All right. Area code 813.
Hey, I just wanted to say, do you ever notice why you see all these Mexicans running around and the cops don't do nothing to them?
No. Share what's going on, brother.
It's really because they don't have a contract with the United States. So we're contracted with the United States, and they can't, to throw them in jail, that's not big business. To throw us in jail, for us, is big business because we're contracted with the United States. You know, and realistically, Obama, he's rewarding people who just broke 2 laws, jumping the border and using dead people's Social Security numbers. That's 2 crimes right there, but he's rewarding them and giving them more time to stay in the United States. But I can't go out on the corner and sell crack without getting put in jail. I mean, that's crazy right there in itself. And also, we got a dude named Steve Harvey. You know, he's got a morning show, and all he does is talk about religion and God this, God that, and he got us so deep into religion, we don't even care about nothing. All we care about is religion in the morning. Nobody else's talk show in the morning talks about religion except, excuse me, I got a plane coming over my head. Sorry. If you listen to Spanish radio morning show, if you listen to white people's morning show in the morning, you don't hear nothing about religion. They go to church on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. They don't have to hear about religion. For some reason, I think Steve Harvey is even syndicated out of Alabama. And he done came over here now, and we got to hear about religion every morning, and we're getting so deep into this religion that we don't care about nothing. And you see these foreigners, they come over here now, and like you were talking about before, you don't know what kind of record they had over there, and they're coming over here by the time they're like 25, 30 years old. They're already grown people. We got to live in this society going through hard times, going through pain, going through credit, messing up our credit. By the time we get old enough, our credit is messed up. By the time they get over here, they're good to go. They can buy a house. They can buy a car. They can do whatever they want, and we're all fucked up. And they come over here, and they're like, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys acting like this? But they, you know what I'm saying, they don't look at the whole overall picture. You know, I tell my friends, I said, yeah, y'all was dancing in the streets. Y'all was putting Obama on the mural and everything else. He ain't did nothing for black people. What did he do?
Area code 605-562-3140, African Americans Ain't African Radio. Nisi, what the brother's saying is that, does that have some validity to it? Does it have, is what he's saying, is that what's happening?
Pretty much, but you know, I agree with him. I agree with him probably about 98%, except on the credit thing. You know my skill on credit. I've been a mortgage broker, sold houses, put the good hat on, was into housing counseling. I help people repair their credit. A lot of it I do it for free. It's a trap. It's another part of the construct. But you have to learn how to play the game. It's bull. If you can cash and carry, that's the best thing that you can do, because nobody else gets caught up in credit except for so-called black people. You know, it's a construct that they put on us. Why is it that? And I know this for a fact because I had to do a lot of research on it. Why is it that Caucasians, Europeans, they can file bankruptcy and go out tomorrow and get more than they had held before they filed bankruptcy? It's the construct. But what we have to do, from what I can see, we simply have to stop embracing all the bullshit. Simple as that. We embrace things, all this stuff. We don't value ourselves. We don't value our collective. And of all the groups, we are the main group. We're the only group that is as divided as we are. But that's another part of the construct, because that's part of the mental side. I mean, it's just the truth. We don't like hard truths. I think if we ever digested the hard truths, and we're going to have a show about that, maybe we can get to the healing and the reconciliation. But we just go round and round on the hamster wheel because we don't want to deal with the hard truth. I'm sorry. That's just it.
There is so much this is from Sandy in New York. There is so much illegal immigration that often we have not known who is in the country. The way the immigration system is now, it encourages men and women to marry Americans under false pretense. I know many American women who marry foreigner, and as soon as they get the green card, the marriage is over and they are left to raise kids alone. So maybe some people really just want the paper and not the relationship. Another issue is they lie and say foreigners want job, Americans do not. This is false. Look at all the foreigners you know and what type of level job they possess. I may sound anti-foreigner, but there are guidelines on the book to prevent too many people coming in to preserve the rights of the people here. Also, we talk about illegals as being Mexican, but what about all the Europeans who come here? Texas recently stalled Obama with the president that the states have a say that the feds can't force the states to waive immigration requirements. So that's what I was saying earlier. We have all these people coming in, and what is happening to the African American? We're dying out.
But also, Bug, it's like, in a way, how could you be mad at somebody who got their family together and their situation together, and they come and infiltrate a place and make money? See, our problem is, we too proud to live with each other as a unit.
Yes.
I call it too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yes.
We like to be the alpha dog. Everybody got the alpha dog mentality and want to show everybody who boss.
Right.
But we also have, on the other end, we also have people who don't contribute and fall in line with the rules and respect, and they chase away the people who are trying to extend a helping hand, man. It's supposed to be a give and take situation.
Well,
so you got a lot of people burning each other, man, and they like, that ain't going to happen to me again. Our main thing is, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to have kill somebody, There's no communication,
Yes. But what I want to really hit upon is, well, see, you have all these. This is just 2013 alone, 43 million people coming in. As these people are piling in, what are we doing, or what should we be doing, Rick? What should we be doing, Rick?
Well, we should be trying to. First thing, we should be trying to get our own, and we should start trying to form some kind of communities, and do like Nisha was saying earlier, how other people were doing it. We need to set all this stuff up and get these communities going so we can start to produce our own. Because they show us every day that we are the ones that are not desired, and we gotta go. There's already a vendetta against us to get rid of us anyway, because they don't want, and we're the people of the earth. We are the only people of the landmass called America, and people who are not of the earth want to destroy it, and the only way to destroy it, they have to destroy you. And our people, we gotta get that in our heads, and then start doing our own so we can turn this thing around.
So do you see that happening, Rick? Because I'm not trying to be an asshole or nothing. What my vision is, we just wake up and just get busy. Nothing else matters. And the next thing you know, the reality that we see now is not looking like it is now. I don't know if it's divine intervention or what. But what I see in front of us now, cuz we skipping down the road of destruction. Now, with all the things we just named,
I'll tell you what, Buck. One thing that you can do, that we can do individually, is we got to get rid of all the bad thoughts in our head, and we got to think about and stop thinking about all this dead stuff, and start thinking of life and start supporting life. And I'm telling you, if you start doing that, life will start support you, and all of that stuff that people think that they need, it's so much easier to do. As a matter of fact, it's like one thing that we should start doing. Stop wanting money all the time. Money, you don't need money. Money needs you. And if we start to look at it that way, we can start changing a lot of these things individually.
Area code 813, are you still there? Area code 813, you still there?
I want to say I agree with everything 813 said too, man. Except if you're on the corner selling crack rock, you need to go to jail. Don't be selling crack rock no more, guys.
Yeah, that normally comes from what cats who are confused about their position. So, when people say stuff like that, I wanted to jump on that too. Lone Wolf, thanks for bringing that up. We just got off track with that. But a lot of times we think we can just do anything. Like, that's one of the things, the crack selling thing. We've implicated ourselves in that. So that's what I mean about getting us out of here. That's why we don't really have no moral standards now, because we down for that. Because what we say, I want to get paid by any means necessary. We don't care if we kill our mama. We don't care. We just want that bling bling. And that's what we've become. So when you see this happening and you seeing that all these immigrants are coming over here, that has to set an alarm up in front of, especially to all the males in the country. Brothers, this is happening to your women and children, and all you want to go do is dig in somebody's bowels or go watch the game. This is where the males are today. This is happening, that we're being bombarded. And all we got to do is try to dog each other out? For real, cuz? This where we at? So, the immigrants coming in. This is how I'm seeing what's happening. I like to look at Egypt because Egypt is a desert now. And when you look at old drawings or paintings of Egypt, they had flowers that were the size of people. They were hanging out with giraffes and stuff like they were dogs. What happened to this people? What happened? The obelisk went up, and the civilization vanished because the Egyptians start getting in to what we're getting into here. And the so-called African American is on self-destruct mode. But that's not the problem, because that can be changed. The problem with it is we get mad when somebody brings it up, that we're on self-destruct mode. We doing all kind of self-destructive behavior, and we act like it's cool. It's gotten to that point because we have sold ourselves down the drain. Now, it's only going to be a couple of people that wake up and leave something so people can nibble on and have in the future. But if we keep going down this road, and like I said, we skipping down it. We're arrogant in our ignorance. If we keep skipping down this road, everybody knows what's happening. So arise, y'all.
You know what, Bud?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say that you're right, man. That whole crack epidemic, man, like, it really left. That was like, we were trying to come up as one and unity and all that, especially in the 70s and stuff like that, in the 60s. But that broke up families, man. You know, that was the first time we started putting each other out the house and stuff like that, you know. You on that dope. You got to go, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, but what is our position in that?
Well, yeah, people definitely, the weak people fell into that and they got stuck and they just left a whole, just the new youth, man, they grew up basically parentless or raised by their grandmas and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, but that's been done before. But
it's a whole new animal now, man. These kids have no morals, no respect for themselves, for their parents. Like I tell kids in my school, like, hey man, what would your mama say talking like that? Man, F her. You know, I'm being nice, but they'll say the whole word. Or F that B. You know, you didn't hear kids talking like that back in the day before crack.
So,
and you look at a tree. Say I'm gonna use one of Rick's nature type of examples. You get a tree, you cut that tree in half, and you look at them lines, right? You can see like where, like how they said the ice age happened, something like that. You can see like on certain lines, like where it's just wiped out, and then it'll start growing again. That's how it is. Well, how it was with crack to black. You know, it wiped us out, and now we're trying to grow again, but we mutated now to something else.
That's a nice analogy, Lone Wolf. So you're saying the crack epidemic was the bomb drop on us?
It was a H-bomb.
I agree with that.
But if we're trying to be an autonomous group, and we're supposed to be growing, when things like that happen, what are we supposed to be doing? Because
we don't know. We running around like chickens with their head cut off. We don't know. We don't have the people that do know. They either looked at us arrogant or crazy, and like you say, people just worried about what's on TV or the game or some club. You know, it's gonna take. it's gonna take some people gotta learn to communicate. You know, like I said, that's number one, man. Once we can learn to talk to each other, it'll start growing from there. But we don't even know how to talk to each other without putting hands on each other or bullets in each other.
But
Yes, ma'am.
here's the thing, okay? Yes, we do know what to do. I mean, I understand why you said that, Lone Wolf, but yes, we do know what to do. We're just not doing it. And I agree with you wholeheartedly because I use that same analogy, drugs in the community, they were set there, and, our communities were besieged, but it was a strategic in the agenda of the construct. We know that. I mean, nobody's going to deny that if they do, somebody just needs to bust them upside their head. So we know that. When bombs are dropped in places, usually America is doing it for a reason. Then they go back and rebuild under our guise of getting stuff and everything. Okay, there's nothing to get from our community that they aren't already getting. So people ran out of the communities like rats off a burning ship. So either we rebuild within ourselves because the brokenness, we don't realize how it extends. It's still extending. A bomb was dropped in the community. We have all this rubble, and we were waiting on who to rebuild it. Surely not the people who detonated it. Were we? Were we waiting on them to rebuild it? Apparently we were, because the rebuilding has never taken place. The bomb was set off here 40 years ago. So you just got all that rubble, and you got people running away from the rubble, but the rubble just follows you anyway because it's there in your family. It's everywhere. So the dysfunction is part of the rubble. And if you don't find within yourself to figure out as a collective how we need to rebuild this, we can't run away from who we innately are. We can't run away from the fact that we're pretty much all collective, whether we like it or not. So, the bomb, it was an atomic bomb that was dropped in our community. And we have yet to begin the rebuilding process.
So, Nisi, as a mother, and speaking for all mothers out there who love their children, who looks out for their children, who will use superhuman strength to protect their children, what would you say we need to do? Because listen, I mean, we're already getting hammered, but I think when Obama drops these floodgates, it's going to hit us faster than we really realize. What would you suggest that we do, Mama?
We got to come together, baby, because guess what? When people have to look at this thing from a panoramic view, Buck, when the floodgates are open, I live where I live in Memphis. These immigrants don't care what you so-called the hood and Mr. Projects and that's a bad area of the town and all that yada yada stupid stuff. These people are coming from worse places than that. Looks like paradise to them. Guess what? They will take that, rebuild it, and now it's Little Havana, it's whatever, and you ain't got nowhere to be. So what you gonna do?
That's one of the prongs. That's what I'm saying. That's one of the prongs to get us out of here. Because I'm seeing everywhere in America, we have all these cities. It's like if you talk to people in New York, well, everybody's moving into Harlem now, and the Negroes getting kicked out. When we're in these places, what do? We have all these black mayors and all this stuff, and what do we really do?
We don't put pressure on them. You know what? When we have black elected officials, you have Negro peons who close rank and file around them and dare anybody else to criticize them. That shit has to stop.
Well,
because usually when they're put in place, we have that here. We've had a black mayor for 22 years. The damn city is worse off than it was when it was ultra red with conservatives. Like I've told somebody, if they put a Tea Party mayor in there, Tea Party for the city council, Tea Party removed the African American that we got for police director. If we replace all these folks with Tea Partiers, I couldn't tell the damn difference. Okay.
Well, isn't it see, this is the system. This is what I'm saying. This is the system that we live in. Isn't there a part of this system that says when this thing doesn't work for the people, the system must be torn down? Isn't that a part of the Constitution or something?
Yes, it is.
We keep trying to act like this thing works, and it doesn't.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Rick and
So who's going to tear it down?
Constitution, since it don't apply to us.
Well, Rick, and we're at the top of the hour. African Americans Ain't African Radio. Immigration. What does it mean for us? What does it mean for us? And how are we going to look at this? Because, like I say, when you look at civilization, and that's why history is so important. And I know we're not deep into it like we should, but let me suggest to the people, do this. Check out ancient Egypt. And I say take out ancient Egypt because this is what is now happening to the African American. The ancient Egypt was one of the coldest civilizations you'll ever see, off the hook. But they were working with nature, as Rick always say. They were working in a paradigm of nature. Some immigrants came over, told them they should accept Jesus, Zeus, and all this other stuff, began to suck these people dry. So dry that Africa is damn near half a desert because immigrants are coming out sucking their resources out of them. And the people are also a resource. Look at what's happening to us over here. Rick made a cold analogy when he said all the immigrants come in, they got to cut down more trees. How you going to breathe? That's your environment. We already suffering from that because of the environment. What's going to happen to us, and are we ready for it? So, in your closing words, Rick, are we ready for it?
Well, we're not ready for it right now, but I tell you what, we better start making preparations though, and we better start doing it quick because, like I said, a lot of the landscape that used to be here hundreds of years ago is not here any longer, and what is taking over is a planet of dead things, dead buildings, dead cars, dead everything.
The stuff you put in the storage units.
Say what?
The stuff that we keep in the storage unit, dead stuff. I know Negroes paying more in storage unit rent than they are paying in house rent. They got so much stuff, and they poor.
Right. And that's what, and like you was talking about Egypt, that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to get into so much dead stuff that we've forgotten life and how life will support us and take care of us. We gotta start looking at it that way. Stop begging and stop depending on other people, to do things for you. We got to start doing it ourselves. I mean, you don't see hyenas telling a lion, yeah, we'll go ahead and babysit your cubs. And you don't see stuff like that. We'll take help from anybody. We're the only people in this world that's diverse. Nobody else, no other people in this world are diverse but us. And we'll take help from anybody, no matter who it is, where they come from. We don't even have to know them. Just like we was talking about that president. He has nothing to do with you. His mother's European. His father's African. Which one are you?
Thank you.
And with that, I just want to say good night. And like I said, we need to stop asking for stuff. The stuff needs you because it can only work because of you. So stop saying, I need this. Say, this needs me. Good night.
Close, Nisi.
Okay, I got to put this in here, my brothers and family, because this is something that I put together specifically for the show. It's very important. Here's a word for you, and I'm going to follow Rick in what he does, but this is my own spin on it. Look up the word grifter, okay? A grifter is a con artist, okay? That's what these people who oppress us are. That makes us a mark, okay? Grifters, that's the perfect analogy to use when looking at how we were mentally disconnected from not only our land but ourselves by Europeans, to deceive by trickery. These are definitions of grifters. To swindle, to deprive by trickery, to defraud, cheated them from their land, to mislead, to fool, illusion, sleight of hand, and cheat the eye, to act dishonestly, practice fraud, fraudulent acquisition of another's property. Clever conquer and conquest tactics, which resulted from mass genocide, which is what they did, that was strategically implemented and caused generational inculcation, a.k.a. menticide. When behaviors are acted out by an oppressed people, that's us, subconsciously, they are unaware and will automatically react without conscious thought. Know that thoughts are the meat of menticide. The object is to place information into one's subconscious via food, television, media, economics, education, etc. Thoughts and the ability to think and create can diminish menticide, and that is critical thinking. However, one must seek to know thyself and seek wisdom. I teach you why.
Lone Wolf, I know you before you go ahead and go get you a tequila shot. What you gonna say, brother?
Well, I was going to send some of them bacon wrap hot dogs down there for you, bro. I know you miss them. But I was just going to say, man, these people done baked a cold-blooded cake on us, man. Killed our leaders and stuff in the 60s and 70s. And then the icing on the cake was the crack rock in the 80s. So, you know, it's premeditated, you know. So we got to we got to wipe the fog off our glasses and be able to see straight. We got to start humbling ourselves. We got to start helping one another instead of trying to brag about what we got and how much we got. We need to help one another, and we need to talk to one another and communicate more. Stop texting us so much. Call somebody. Write a letter. Whatever you got to do. Just change something around to try to help somebody. And that's all.
Cool. Well, I want to close immigration. We got to unite, y'all, because we are all we have left. So-called African American, Negro, black people, you know who you are. You know who you are. Unity is the key because the world is uniting against us. If we don't support life, life won't support us. And the way we support life is by supporting each other. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.